I'm Tyler Austin from Gungnir Strategic. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this kind of content, please consider subscribing to either my player or my Patreon channel. Links are down in the description below, of course. In this video, I'm going to show you how to zero your rifle, or your pistol for that matter, in 10 rounds or less. Now, I'm not being dramatic when I say that. I took 2 rifles to the range about a week ago, and it was both an AK and an AR, and I zeroed the AR in 6 rounds, and I zeroed the AK in 8 rounds, both of which took me maybe a whole 15 minutes in total to zero both of them. So it's absolutely possible. I do it all the time, and I'm going to show you how to do that here. It amazes me how much time and how much ammo people waste to zero their rifle, or pistol for that matter, when it's not necessary to burn that much ammo and therefore that much time in the zeroing process. So I'm going to use the AK that I zeroed that day as my example. I meant to do this on the range that day. However, it was so windy, it was an absolute disaster to record. So here I am doing this here. But it was a 10.5-inch AK, 7.62 by 39. I was zeroing at 36 yards, and I was using 30-year-old Wolf ammunition. So by no means any type of specialty ammo. So my first round went, in my first group, went roughly 4 inches high and 4 inches to the right. Now, this is going to lead me into my first point. Do 1 to 2 round groups for your initial groups. It is unnecessary to do a 5-round group when you just slapped a new optic, whether that's a red dot, magnified optic, whatever you're zeroing. It is unnecessary to do a 5-round group to figure out that that optic, which is probably going to be pretty far off, is shooting really far off, and to figure out roughly where it's shooting. I don't need to do a 3 or certainly a 5-round group to figure out that this rifle was shooting roughly 4 inches high and 4 inches right. I don't need that. I only need 1 round, or maybe 2 rounds at most. 1 to 2 rounds is suffice for your first 2, maybe even 3 groups. Typically, you're not going to swap over to 3 or 5-round groups, if you prefer 5-round groups, until your rounds are starting to hit roughly in the area in which you are aiming at. For me, I just used a few strips of blue Scotch tape as my 0 point. So this leads me to my next point, which is do maths, i.e. know what your clicks do at a given range for your optic. So for example, I was zeroing with a red dot on this AK, and that red dot, each click changes the reticle a half an inch at 100 yards. Now, I was zeroing at 36 yards, so I end up using more 50-yard math for this, just to make life easy, even though it wouldn't be necessarily perfect. It'd be close enough. So, knowing that this rifle shot 4 inches high and 4 inches to the right, I did 16 clicks down and left, which put my second group, which was still only 1 round, I only shot 1 round for my second group, right there. So it started getting on to that Scotch tape that I was aiming at. So at that point, I started to swap over to 3-round groups for my final 2 groups. Now here, it shot about maybe a little bit more than a half inch low and left. So I did 2 clicks to the right and up, which my third group, which is a 3-round group, it was right there, and then those 2 rounds right there. So on average, it was shooting a little high and right, so I backed it off a half a click, going both down and back to the left. And my fourth group were these 3 rounds right here. So boom, 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 and on average, I was happy with that, and I called that zeroed. At that point, I took the rifle to 100 yards and aiming for the head, and I did this 4-round group right here, which for a 10.5-inch AK, using 30-year-old Wolf ammo, I was pretty happy with, especially on a fairly windy day. So that's the big takeaway. 1 to 2 round groups for your first initial groups. It's unnecessary to do 3 or 5-round groups for your first few groups when the optic is going to be way off anyways. And the next big thing is actually do math and know what your clicks do at a certain range for your particular optic. It amazes me how many people will see this and just wing it with their clicks. I go, well, I just know it needs to go down, and I know it needs to go left, so click, 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 click. They don't even know how many clicks they did, and they just end up jumping all over the place because they're just winging it and just trying to do desk work essentially with the clicks in terms of actually adjusting the reticle, and that never works, and it's a gigantic waste of time and ammo, especially if you're trying to zero with really expensive ammo. And that's really it. Like I said, most of the time when I'm zeroing a rifle, it only takes me 10 rounds, if not less, to do so. In that particular case, I zeroed 2 rifles, and I barely went over 10 rounds for both of the rifles combined. So, I hope you found this video helpful and informative. If you did, please like and subscribe. I'm Tyler Austin from Gungear Strategic. Thank you so much for watching.